Welcome to How Do You Not Know This? Yeah. Thank you. A podcast in which myself, comedian Delisa Sponda, who currently has transformed drastically for this.
Hello!
Brilliant work there, brilliant. And where we school Dom Hattonwoods in a different subject each week. Deliso is on the high seas, and so this week we've got a wonderful stand-in. It's John Cooper. Hello, John.
Hey, John. Hello. Hi. Hello. Yeah. I mean, I could do a Deliso impersonation, but let's not. Hello. Yes. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. So I've been doing stand-up about 20 years. You seem to have been there right from when I was there right at the beginning.
Yeah, I've been around for about 20 years. I don't do much stand-up anymore. I'm very active with the Totally Improvised Company. Mm-hmm. This year will be my 19th Edinburgh Fringe. And you can now find me doing slightly more diverse things like holding art events. And the other week I was hosting a Ladies' Day in Cheshire.
Dom, you've done a few of them, haven't you?
I hosted Ladies' Day.
Hello. Yes, but Totally Improvised. Tell us a bit more about that. So that is Braun, and that's that came out of Comedy Sports. Is that right?
Comedy Sports was the original show. It's been around for 20 years, and it's the company that made that show. And we now have the Totally Improvised musical, which is like an improvised musical where the audience come up with a title and we just sing it with a live accompaniment.
You work with Bron in that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, she's not a fan of me.
Oh dear.
Brilliant.
Not at all.
Never mind.
And you laughed because you knew that.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Did I? How did I know that? Did I know that?
It seems like you said, I'm doing this podcast with Dom Attenwood. She's going, oh no, Dom Attenwood. She taught me.
That literally didn't happen.
She taught me at uni. That's what happened.
All right, okay.
Well, I went did the Salford thing, didn't I? And she was one of the lecturers.
Ah, my memory's terrible.
And I was not. You wouldn't know that unless I told you or she told you.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't. Wouldn't. So yeah, sorry.
So you get frustrated doing this for me an hour a week.
Yeah, man.
She was hours every week.
Now, when you say not a fan, like you knew, because most teachers, like even in that kind of context, even when it's a Mickey Mouse course that, they were a bit more like they can put a face on. But do you think you could sense the loathing? She
put a face on, just a very pissed off one. Generally, no. I think what the issue was is she maybe because I came into that degree, comedy writing and performance, knowing I wanted to be a stand-up. Yeah. And anything else was not of interest to me. So improv, any of this shit, I was like, no, I'm not doing stand-up comedy. I don't want to know about it.
Right.
But so I came in with that energy maybe, and I was already doing gigs, and they'd say like, Bron didn't do this. She would say you should go out and do gigs, but a lot of them would say you should be focusing on the course. Gigs can wait. You're not qualified.
So you came into the course even before being a stand-up with that kind of latent stand-up prejudice towards improv.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Because you know about this, right? Do you? Having been in the comedy scene for like 20 plus years, been a stand-up, John's got a great character, Danny Pensive, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I did Danny Pens about 15 years.
Do you sense, or did you ever pick up on this kind of disdain, like low-level disdain that the sort of traditional stand-up has of improv?
Well, yeah, because we used to get we used to get a load of that flack back when sports started around Manchester. It did used to get like, what the hell's this? And there was certain people who did really quite actively take the mick out of it. Yeah. And it's really only been in the last, say, 5 or 6 years, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. It's irrelevant. We're still here and we're still doing stuff. And
you've outlived all that.
Next week we've got the Greater Manchester Improv Festival, which is the 4th to the 7th, and that is like 5 or 6 different improv groups, which isn't us, it's other people. Some
it.
people who've done the courses, it's Drunk Classics and Ladies Who Improv and Murder Inc. and Comedy Sports and Dark Peak Adventure Club. These are all little groups who popped out of the improv scene over the last, say, 10 years, all got together, and this will be the first time they all come together for like one big weekend at the King's Arms and do a big festival. It's a bigger, broader scene, you know? It's like, it's a big canvas.
I love it. I just like the fact that even as he said, the Manchester improv, you didn't even, that was involuntary.
Look, I struggle with improv.
That's fine.
I do, and
scene.
Well, we all live in like silos now. Well, you know, you can go and play Liverpool Arena and people won't know who you are.
Yeah.
Because is that low level disdain? That must be a purely sort of British thing, because it's like America. It's massive. They freaking love improv, and like I said, there are like my wife does improv. She goes to like improv classes and stuff, and all around Manchester, and there's groups everywhere doing it, and they love it.
Tell you why I struggle with it. Remember one of our lessons. Go right. You're gonna do some improv now, and you're going to pick an animal. It's on the first week of uni. You'll pick an animal, and you've got to pretend to be that animal. And I was like, what have I fucking signed up to? I was a goldfish, just so I forgot. Experience. But yeah, and then we did that, and then they'd make you reflect. They'd be like, right, come together, two of you, students, and reflect on what just happened. And I thought you're meant to be teaching the class.
Yeah.
Why am I talking to this prick?
I mean,
just been a kangaroo.
There is branches of improv that don't gel with me, but like again, it's a very broad canvas, so it's kind of like, and it's just like one person's thing to another. It's like, you know, it's like footy and Doctor Who. You know.
Yeah. And then we spent. And then we had to throw a pretend ball in a circle.
You're not having that, are you?
No,
that's like,
I'm not having any of that shit.
Okay.
That's
Buy
the sort
a ball.
of that's the drama sort of side, you know, like.
So
like
you want a real ball?
I want a real ball, yeah.
We can't.
I pay $9,000 a year for this shit.
We can't imagine a ball.
Huh?
We can't imagine a ball.
Why are we throwing a ball? Anyway,
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Have you've probably done this, though, I would have thought.
I have. I've thrown an imaginary ball before. I can do it now if you want.
Go on then.
Go on, let's see who can catch it. Oh, hello. Right,
see,
Tony's ready. You're ready, Dom.
Thing is, if you
look at that.
Right,
I'm glad Tony caught it. Otherwise, it would have hit you.
You gave.
I threw it. There's a ball on your lap, right?
Hang on a minute. You gave that ball this pace. If you throw a ball like that, it's not going to Tony. It's going down.
Well, we wouldn't know that.
It was a foam ball. You know those light ones.
Still wouldn't.
What's the ball made out of?
I don't know what our ball's made out of.
Yeah. Well, you know, you don't have to like improv. It's, you know, it's not for everyone. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's cool.
But like this might inspire though, in terms of like, so for instance, I did drama at A level. I did performance and stuff like that. There is a level to which even now, 20 years into stand-up, I go, there are some skills I learned from that.
Yeah.
From carrying around balls of chi energy, like and finding a space and all that kind of shit that seems completely useless. Like the ability to sort of do voices, accentuate a punchline, mimic, all those kind of things is like, it's like another skill. Like, so improv is actually a really good skill for stand-up. Like particularly if you're hosting and you know what I mean, being able to like keep like. The main rule you'll have learned is the whole thing about when you're doing improv, never to sort of end like always keep building and building and building rather than
yes and thing,
you know. And there's something about in like good stand up, good MCing is a sort of yes and world where you sort of let things go to
a lot of good stand-ups use improv. Well, there's a thing called comprovisation. Have you heard of comprovisation?
No.
Comprovisation is comparing improv. So you're Mick Ferry or you're someone like that, and you're on stage, or you're Eddie Izzard, and you've got two very different comedians using a similar principle, which is you have your library of gags and your library of routines and material, and it just sits there in the back of your head and like a big filing cabinet, and you're doing your audience work bit, chatting to you, look at you in a particular shirt. You know that shirt? go to that bit of material, pull that bit of material out, do that bit of material. Sounds like it's live, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's an expertly written, crafted piece.
Yes.
And then you do it, and then it's kind of binned off, and then you go back into your audience. Your audience work's improv.
Thing is, I also don't like audience work.
Well, it's it's bang on trend at the minute. It doesn't seem like everyone's doing it, but
if I went,
it'll never survive.
but that's good. That's good.
If I spent 20 quid, which is a standard weekend ticket, for a ticket to a stand-up show, and someone said to me, I was an audience, when someone said to me, what do you do? I'd say, I probably wouldn't say, but I'd think, hang on a minute, I've paid to be entertained by you. Why am I then brought into this?
I think we need more. We need more of that. More like just well-crafted gags. Just
I love it when a
material.
compere just does 2 10-minute sections of his set. Great.
Yeah.
Just that's it. Just does it. Yeah, but can you see there's something in that idea of improvisation?
I can.
Where you've already made the material and the act or the MC is kind of like not shoehorning in, but sort of almost like, oh, it's like an ice sculpture. Oh my goodness, it's just appeared. And it looks like a superhero.
Eddie Izzard used to talk about his islands and the water in between them. And his islands were the written stuff, and the water in between them was him swimming. And he would just freestyle swim. And so basically he does his routine, and then he doesn't know which one he's going to do next. So it's not a linear set, like you start with this and you end with this.
But I do think a lot of comics can do that. Like Deliso does that without... He'll just go from bit to bit in his head without speaking to them.
Yeah,
it's fair.
It's a different style, isn't it? But I just quite like the fact that you've been burnt by this whole process.
Well, so I do sometimes go to acting classes actually. So I'm not. That's not improv, but I'm not completely against the idea.
Oh, nice.
But one of the other won't mention his name. Well, I just said his name, but that runs comedy sports with this person said in a class, because my friend was held back a year, and said in the class that he doesn't like me.
Oh dear, okay.
He went, yeah, Dom Atwood's not too keen on him, but I thought I had a good relationship with this guy.
Crikey, this is
news to me. I wasn't aware of any of this.
This is awkward.
And these are my colleagues from my improv group.
And then I'll see them in Edinburgh and we'll just speak normally, really, which is obviously
well, that's good. To speak normally is good. I think that's what we all aim towards, speaking normally.
Yeah. Well, they can maybe. I love the fact this is ace. So you're genuinely you hadn't heard any of this, but
no.
you assumed he'd have a filing cabinet of how terrible you were as a student.
No, it's because I said she doesn't like me, and he laughed a lot. So to me, that was like a recognition of
and not just she didn't like you, but her colleague who also taught you
doesn't like me.
Blissfully unaware.
Taught me screenwriting. Doesn't like me.
So screen improv.
You might have mentioned it to me at a gig, but even if you had,
I don't think I did because
that.
I didn't know that you. Yeah. This was new to me, and we've only gigged together twice.
Yeah.
Having done this podcast, I mean, I like you, but I can imagine anyone just on record there, I like you, but anyone that's ever taught you in an official capacity, I can imagine doesn't like you.
Why?
Because you're unteachable. You just the fact you were like, I'm not gonna this is outside of my I want, so you're not interested.
Yeah.
I mean, I can still that ball that I threw to you that you've just let fall on the floor. That was rude. So
I feel like I've been taught about improv.
No, you've done great. You've done great.
It's more of an argument.
So we're going in this podcast. We talk about one thing that might be a new thing for you to hear about, and then obviously you tell us about something you've been working on. I thought with John, right? Because this is interesting. This week, did you hear Doctor Who hasn't been? This is the week that we're recording this on, which is the end of May, hasn't been recommissioned after a very long time.
Yet.
Oh, love the hope there. Love the hope there.
That's gonna be.
So you're a big Doctor Who fan, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a massive Doctor Who.
How did you feel
nerd.
about the new? Because wasn't the young guy from Sex Education that was Doctor Who next?
The Shooty Gatwa.
The black guy.
Yeah. Well, he's done 2 series
as Doctor Who.
Yeah.
He's how old is he? Like 20 something.
I'm not sure. He's
young though, right?
Yeah, he's pretty young. He looks early 30s.
But that second season is finished.
That must be.
They haven't announced anything, so nobody knows. They've not officially said anything yet. It's all rumours.
That must be a blow to the system. How long's Doctor Who been going on for?
It's coming up on 70 years.
With the right, and then how long? Doctor Who before this guy? How long was he doing it?
Most of the Doctors have done like 3-year stints, apart from Tom Baker, who did 7 years.
Must be hard to be the Doctor that ends it.
Well, nobody really has, and as I say, it's all just speculation. So you saying it's cancelled, it's like it hasn't been. It's like it's not.
I think it has been, and this hope
said by a true Doctor Who fan. There, it'll never. It'll.
You
think it'll outlive
I'm not
you?
having words put in my mouth about it's being cancelled.
You're in denial.
It might have a little bit of a rest and come back, but again, they haven't said anything. It might.
Nothing.
It might announce a new series tomorrow.
Look, no one's ever been in a relationship and gone, let's go on a break, and they've got back together and it's been better. So
yeah, they have.
No, they've not.
Yeah,
I'm sure someone has, but yeah, it's never a good sign.
If
Doctor Who got cancelled in 1998 and came back in 2005.
What did?
Doctor Who.
Huh?
Doctor Who
was that the end?
Doctor Who got cancelled in 1998 and came back in 2005.
Yeah, which Doctor Who? Which actor was that? That was pre-Tennant then? Was it Tennant the one that came back?
Sylvester McCoy into Paul McCann for a one-off, and then nothing, and then Christopher Eccleston.
And where's Doctor Who shown on? Live TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen.
That's how it's sorted then.
I hope Disney have tuned in.
Because no one's watching TV now, are they?
It's streamed on. Is it on Disney Plus?
Most TV is
because it's a Disney BBC.
It's broadcast live, but then it goes to iPlayer.
Right,
Is it on Disney Plus as well though?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I think Doctor Who should be cancelled.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Yes,
and see. So, give us an interesting. I was once told an interesting thing with Doctor Who. Is this true? Right?
Yeah.
Because do you know the premise of Doctor Who?
The TARDIS, well done, which like a police phone box that's bigger inside, and he's a Time Lord and all that.
Yeah.
But the interesting, apparently, right, the woman that produced the first one,
yes,
right,
Verity Lambert,
is this right? That she had been given such a small budget that she just pulled in stuff like, so for instance, like TARDIS was just, they had a police phone box in the BBC costume department. You were like, right, all right, we'll do that. That'll be a spaceship and da-da-da. Just to...
It's always been a show that's been pulled together on a shoestring budget. So,
do you think that's maybe the part of the problem now that Disney got involved as well?
Disney got involved. They've had a bigger budget, and I think if Disney go away, then the BBC will just have to rethink. If Disney go away, we don't know that. The BBC will have to rethink how they do it. But there's no reason why you can just can't reboot it back as a. They've done it before, where they brought it back on a shoestring when they weren't going to.
So that's often the case. It's a bit like like CGI and games that have amazing graphics. If you don't have those facilities, you got to rely on your writing a bit more, haven't you?
Are you familiar with any of the classic Doctors? No, any of the ones off TV back before? Do you know how many Doctors there've been?
No, I don't even really know what Doctor Who is, to be honest.
Give us your. What do you think it is?
I gave it to you a minute ago.
Go on.
TARDIS.
That you just said a word.
That's all I've got.
And he's sticking to it.
Yeah.
What in your imagination would an average episode of Doctor Who involve?
I genuinely no idea.
Just in your imagination, just off the top of your head, what would you imagine you would be watching if you turned on the telly and it was there?
I think I'd go, this is shit, and turn it off.
That's your reaction, right?
That's your reaction.
Rather your approach to improv. It's like, it is actually half an hour of improv in a TARDIS. That's
it does, right or wrong doesn't matter. What would you imagine you would watch? What would you see? What would the pictures be?
Someone comes out of the TARDIS.
Yes.
Someone's probably comes out into the A&E waiting room.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Doctor
goes,
Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
Come with me into the TARDIS.
Right.
And then they're in Hawaii.
Okay.
And he fixes his leg by rubbing it in quite a sexual way.
Okay.
And then back into the TARDIS. And now they're back in Crew A&E, where they were before. And all of Mr. Smith's family have died. But his legs are alright, so he's alright with it.
Okay.
And then Doctor... he goes back into the TARDIS, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's not bad.
Is it not?
We didn't travel in time, but we travelled in space. Went from Crewe to Hawaii
Might
and
have
back.
travelled in... Yeah, travelled in space. Which is, if you think about it, in time, because it's a different time zone in Hawaii.
There you go.
Yeah.
Travel in time and space.
I mean, went back to Crewe, and that's kind of in the 80s still, if you go around the city centre. Didn't he go to Crewe A&E at the end of that?
Yeah, but what's that got to do with the 80s?
Or just travelling in time? 1980, doesn't matter.
One of Doctor Who's aliases is John Smith as well. So
John what?
John Smith is one of his aliases.
Well, that's what I thought.
So
That's
there you
what
go.
I obviously meant that.
Because what kind of, like, is this he's a doctor?
Do you struggle
in a-
talking to me sometimes?
No.
Because sometimes you do mention something and you go, oh, leave it.
Well, no, I don't. That wasn't a struggle. That was just,
That wasn't me being like offended. That
No.
was a genuine question.
No,
Yeah.
don't struggle. But it didn't seem of any. It wasn't appropriate to go over what was just a pithy comment.
Right.
That's right. So, in terms of a doctor, then, what kind of doctor is he? Is he this? You've got him as a doctor in a.
Well, he's not obviously an actual doctor, is he?
No.
No.
That's obvious. Doctor Who. So was he really good at Guess Who? I don't know.
That's fair.
I actually don't know. Like, I've never watched it.
Okay.
I probably never will,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Give him right. Could you give? Listen, I reckon we can get him.
Have you watched Breaking?
Give him an. He always goes to Breaking Bad. That's his safety place.
I've watched
That's his
Breaking
safe
Bad.
place.
What do you reckon?
Yeah. Breaking Bad's good.
Yeah.
Brian Cranston would be an amazing Doctor Who.
Yeah, he would actually. I watched another thing of him in recently. He's great.
Yeah, he would be brilliant because he's got the range of the humour,
Yeah.
which you need, but he's also got like the really dark, serious stuff. Yeah. He'd be great.
See, if he did it, I'd watch it.
Yeah, no, he'd be good. If they did an American reboot that's purely American, I'd watch him in it. He'd be
Would
good.
he do it? Is there enough money?
I don't think he'd do it. I don't think he would do it. But
Well, they're probably not in out of his pay grade, isn't it? I would have thought.
depends what he wants to do. I don't know.
I can't see Brian Cranston on BBC iPlayer, can you?
You sometimes Doctor Who managed to pull in like your odd A-lister like
David
cameo.
Tennant was an A-lister, no?
Yeah, well, Kylie Minogue was in it for one episode.
Was she?
Yeah.
And Billy Piper.
And Billy Piper.
Yeah.
So
Do you know about the Doctor's main enemies?
No.
Have you heard it? Well, so like
Do you like it?
I'm on the fence a bit. I've watched a few episodes. I wouldn't say I think with Doctor Who, you either you just you get into it. It's like a whole world. It's a point you suspend disbelief. You get into it.
it's like a lot of sci-fi shows. I think if you're into your sci-fi shows, there's definitely like a level of ownership, and you can really compare it. I used to always just compare it to footy. You can really compare it to footy. And if it's good, you'll support it. If it's not doing too well, you'll still
Footy?
support it. Yeah.
What's that?
Footy.
right,
Football,
okay.
soccer.
I know what that
It's
is.
like soccer.
So have you heard of the Daleks?
Yeah.
Great.
I know what that is.
What's that?
Little Daleks.
Brilliant. And Cybermen. You've really in this, as we've gone through the journey of this podcast, you've really learned how to answer questions really well. Because I'll say to her, "Do you hear this?" You went, "Yeah," and then you'll just
And I've learned how to get you to stop asking me
because
questions.
you
That's
just
what I've
repeat
learned.
the word back at me, and then a little nod, and I'll go, "You've done really well. You've done really well." But John, could you give him give
me what
give him a like an elevator pitch.
Okay.
Like a TARDIS pitch, because obviously he's dismissed the entirety of improv and acting and drama off bar.
Okay.
But Doctor, if you were to get because he represents his generation of Insta
Right.
people. What
Yeah.
Go on, give him an elevator.
No. Can you give me? Yeah, do that.
Okay.
I was going to ask, can you give me what an episode? Yeah, and in this, could you please include what an episode actually,
What an episode actually be?
as opposed to what I
Cool.
said?
So yes, man in TARDIS, Time Lord, travels in time and in space. Your average episode would probably start with some dilemma, then he goes in and he sorts it, There's various formats for stories. One of the most classic one is Base Under Siege, where you rock up somewhere and you're like at the bottom of the ocean and you're being attacked, and he has to find a clever way. He's not a man of violence or a person of violence. Only rarely ever used weapons or guns. Tom Baker used a gun once, but it's all about getting out of the situation using your brain and your wits and your charm. And the various different people who've played him have all had, he's and she's actually, have all had different personality traits, but it's always quite an eccentric character. There's just so much of it that there's what we usually say now is there's an episode for every mood you're in, because if you're a hardcore fan, you've got all this like library of stuff, and you can come home pissed after the pub on a Friday night and just kind of like, right, which one? Vengeance on Varos, and just you'll have one that you fancy watching, and it's it's just like watching action movies, but you forgive the budget, and you forgive. Like, they don't have wobbly sets, but there used to be a reputation about having wobbly sets and stuff. The reason Base Under Siege works so well as a story format is it's a really budget-friendly format where you can just trap a load of people in one room and just have them be attacked.
It's like a well-written escape room.
Yeah, basically.
Like, okay,
yeah.
I've got it. And he's like the sort of the dungeon master.
Yeah.
Kind of like, right, okay.
Yeah.
And he's gonna work it out.
One of the best episodes of the newer series was one that was done on a shoestring budget, which was one called Blink, which was about set in one house, and it was like it was basically a statue of an angel, but if you looked away from them, they'd move towards you, and when they touched you, they aged you to death by teleporting you back in time. And that was all. That was just all like tension and drama. But the monster is actually just this static statue, and then you turn away, and when you look back, it's kind of moved further forward.
Yeah.
And it's like that was a really clever way of just doing a really tense thing with like one room and two statues.
Like red light, green light.
On
steroids. So this will get the forums lit up. Okay, finally, what would you say? Best ever episode in the whole 70 years, now that it's been canned and cancelled.
I'm not rising to that day.
But over that 70 years, what's the...
Up until now, before it gets renewed in a slightly different way.
And will you promise to watch that one episode? No. Okay.
You see, it's like and again, and I'll pull the footy analogy out. There are episodes that are not great. There are episodes that are a bit rubbish, but I still love them because they're fucking rubbish. Even when your team is doing really badly, you'll cheer it on when it's just kind of like, what a bunch of Muppets on the pitch, but the my Muppets on the pitch. So
they're in your.
Are they all self-contained?
Most of them are. The old ones are like 4-parters, but all the new stuff is just like 40-minute straight in and straight out.
You don't need to watch the rest of them.
Don't you know? Well, that's one of the good things about it. You can just pick up an episode at random and just dip in, and as long as you know who he is, because every week he's rocking up somewhere different. They are rocking up somewhere different and just sorting something out. So you don't, because it was originally kind of done to maximise your audience in that syndicated way. But to answer your question, my favourite adventure is probably one of the worst ones there is, which is called Time Flight, where they put the TARDIS on Concorde and fly Concorde back to the prehistoric ages to get some people who've been kidnapped by some guy who turns out he's the master, but you don't know who it is until he reveals himself to nobody in the room at like the third episode, where he just pulls the mask off, but there's nobody around to witness him pulling the mask off. So it's like just the viewers at TV going, oh man, it's the master, but no one's watching. The monsters are just like bubble wrap, and there's 3 incredibly well-spoken Concorde pilots who are like, oh, thank you very much, oh, jolly ho, let's go, let's get safe, thank you. And it's absolute bobbins.
God, that sounds shit.
It is, but it's kind of like, if you are bearing in mind
look, when someone says something shit but I like it, It's just shit.
And you won't like
My
it.
local nightclub in the Oval, everyone goes, it's so shit, it's good. No, it's shit.
It's literally just shit.
Stop
Well,
going.
that's a nightclub though,
Do
isn't
something
it?
better with your life.
I'll understand that. Like nightclubs are rubbish anyway.
Love it. Right, Dom. As we wrap up, Dom's researched something that he's going to teach us about something you've learnt this week.
Well, I've actually come to realise a lot of these are a lot of my things I bring at the end are more self-discoveries than.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Well, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
So what I've learnt this week, well, maybe the last few months, is I think I've got 3 different voices in my head of me.
Okay.
So I've got like 14, 15-year-old Dom.
Okay.
25-year-old Dom, which is today's Dom, and 40-year-old Dom.
Interesting. What does 40-year-old Dom say?
14, 15-year-old Dom is like, you need to do everything now. I can't believe you're not doing this now, you fucking piece of shit.
Okay.
Why have you not been on live with you? Apollo, why haven't you got a wife? What are you doing? And then 25-year-old...
Sounds a nice kid.
And then 25-year-old Dom was like, whoa, man, give me a chance. I'm trying my hardest here.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
40-year-old Dom was like, hey, mate, everything's fine. I'm here when you're ready. And
Good.
everything you want will come to fruition.
Good.
Just be patient. And don't watch Doctor Who.
It's a good exercise to do that forward thinking thing.
Yeah.
I used to do like 5 years in the future things,
If-
where it's kind of like it helps you get to where you want to be.
Well, you know what's not going to be 5 years in the future now?
What?
Doctor Who. He's getting upset.
I'll get back to you in 5 years' time when it's still on the
Dom,
telly.
He can hear 40-year-old Dom. He's actually
40-year-old Dom's.
He's looking at Netflix. It's not even on the. It's not listed.
It's never been on Netflix, so that's fine.
Stick that in your pipe, 40-year-old Dom.
And Breaking Bad's still there.
I don't know, they're still making that, are they?
No, I reckon. I don't know.
Can you imagine if that had been running for 70 years, where he'd be?
Yeah. Well, the main character died, so
Oh yeah, so what?
probably struggling, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Oh, they did make El Camino with Jesse, so maybe it would be to do
There's a lot of
with
spin, and then
They're not making
Better
it
Call
anymore.
Saul and all that. You can.
That
have
was
a little-
great.
Yeah, that was a good.
Yeah,
good
Better Call
spin-off.
Saul was great.
Yeah,
Loved
yeah.
that.
I started watching Your Friend's Neighbour on Apple TV. It's good. Check it
Yeah.
out. Are we done?
We're done.
So before we go, I'm doing these and Friends shows. First one is on 6th of July in Liverpool, 11th of September in Bath, 26th of September in Liverpool. Me and a bunch of friends.
And he'll
Doing
also
comedy.
bring his
And
3
Tony's-
alter egos. 14-year-old Don's going to do a set.
Yeah.
This is shit. You should all go home. Why aren't you all here? This is live in the Poland.
So that's all. Thanks everyone. Like, subscribe.
Yeah.
See you in a bit.
Thanks, John,
mate.
for joining us, mate.
Thank you.